Hello, my name is Luby, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. We are going to be continuing on Lily's route today. The last time we left off, we were left with these ominous words, after reading Iwanako's letter, so let's keep going. I sweat profusely, awaiting the dreaded moment. Each tick of the clock tenses my muscles that much more, every minute making more hairs stand on end. It's coming for me. I can feel it. Death. Death in the form of a single sheet of paper. I take the small pile of papers from the student in front of me and pass it backwards after plucking off the top piece. Looking to the top right of the page, I find my fears realized within that small red circle. 43! I hang my head in sigh and resignation. Cursing under my breath, I can feel the aura of a similar sentiment rising from the entire class. It's strange, but that fact lifts my mood by a minuscule amount. Misery loves company, I suppose. As the teacher opens her mouth, the room braces for the inevitable onslaught, only to be saved at the last minute. We quickly move to collect our bags and leave for lunch post-haste, but the teacher delivers a parting broadside. We'll be discussing the test scores next lesson. Needless to say, there will be quite some discussion to be had. A collective groan resounds in the class, now reduced to shuffling out dejectedly. I push the sheet into my bag as I walk along the hallway, crumpling it in the process. It's enough that such a troublesome letter ended up on my desk yesterday, and now this. Imagine that, getting a letter from your ex going, "Hey, just to be sure, this is over, okay? Yeah, it was over, right? Right? Yeah, I'm never gonna see you again, and that's for the best, alright? See ya." And the very next day, you fail a test. Hisao's going through a rough time right now. I hate English. Hisao. A stern female voice gruffly crawls out from behind me. I freeze on the spot, my face becoming like stone. It's as if I can feel my brain disconnecting from my body. My eyes slowly shift right, trying to catch a glimpse of the disembodied voice. Nothing? My face begins to slip as time passes, and I decide to risk turning my head. Ever so slowly, I twist it to the— yeah! I jump into the air and drop my bag, yelling out in surprise. As I recover and regain my composure, I turn to see— I should have known. Emmy! Gotcha, Hisao! She stands there with a mischievous grin on her face, hands forward and fingers pointed inwards. She was the one who jabbed my ribs with her fingers. I look down at her with a grimace, rubbing my hair in frustration. That's no way to greet someone, you know. You have no sense of humor. I left my sense of humor in my English class. Complain to the teacher if you want it given back to me. She pulls her best puppy dog eyes on me as she pouts. Lily's managed to build up my resistance to the tactic, but Emmy's short stature adds enough to the fact to make me relent. So, how are things? I haven't seen you around for a while. That is true, we actually haven't seen Emmy in a long time. The whole, Lily route seems center around Lily, you know, and Hanako, and I guess in the future Shizune, because, cousin. Same old, same old. I run so fast, nobody wants to join me on my morning runs. It's a real pain. Her modesty never fails to amuse me. Although— uh-oh. You know what I'm thinking, don't you, Hisao? Wearing my emotions on my sleeve is one of my worst habits. She's seen right through me. Fortunately, I see somebody else approaching us that will give me an out. Oh, hi, Hanako. I give her a welcoming wave and try my best at looking like I haven't noticed Emmy's pouting face. She gives a small wave back. Hello, Hisao. Emmy? Hey, Hanako. I'll join you and Lily in a sec. Actually, speaking of lunchtime company, it's odd to see you without Rin, Emmy. Ah! Rin! Without a second word, she forgets all about us and bolts off up the hallway. She must have forgotten she was waiting for her. Hanako and I stand speechless, only able to helplessly stand and watch this ball of seemingly boundless energy dash off. Oh yeah, Hisao! She suddenly stopped herself just before vanishing around the corner to the rooftop staircase, spinning around to meet our bemused faces. I hate English too! And with that, she disappears. All I can do is hang my head and give a long sigh, thoroughly left in the dust. As I hear a short giggle coming from behind me, I turn to see Hanako smiling at the corner my attacker rounded. And by the way, that attacker, Emmy, I know I've said this before, but her voice, like the voice I've given her, has changed so much. I don't know what I'm going for anymore. I pick up my dropped bag from the floor and quickly dust it off. Afternoon. Been busy. You don't like English? Oh, nah. I had a test on it a while back, and Emmy caught me brooding about the results. Sorry. She averts her gaze, guilt written onto her face. A casual observer would think she just accidentally reminded me of a dead relative. Come on, it's not your fault. How are you doing in it? She looks up, though, still avoiding meeting my eyes. All right, I suppose. An awkward silence passes. They seem all too common around Hanako. Oh, Lily asked if you'd like to join us for lunch on the roof. I guess I don't exactly have any pressing engagements to attend to. Sure, I'll be right up. I'll go get my lunch in the cafeteria now. Then. Go on. You don't need my approval to leave, you know. Okay. I'll be going then. She gives a skittish reply, a small nod, and quickly makes off towards the cafeteria. I guess she must have forgotten to bring lunch today. As I walk through the hallways, more and more students start to come out of classrooms and pass me, going in the same direction as Hanako went. By the time I manage to make it to the stairs, I'm having to push my way past a busily chatting throng of students. I finally manage to get past the last of the crowd and round the staircase, slumping slightly in relief and slowing my pace before I open the door to the roof. Ah, damn! I momentarily avert my eyes, all but blinded by the harsh summer sun. Hisao is a vampire confirmed. As I slowly regain my vision, the surroundings finally take form. Lily, Emmy, and Rin sit together on the rooftop, the top of the hilltop forest around Yamaku visible past the fence around them, as if to frame the view. Ah, Hisao! Lily and Rin give a quick nod of acknowledgement and a deep nod of greeting respectively. I start walking towards the rather mismatched trio, and can't help marveling at the speed with which Emmy devours the rest of her half-eaten banana. Hey, strange to see you three together like this. It seems to have been quite the day of coincidences. Emmy and Rin decided to eat on the roof, just as Hanako and I decided to. You stole it! This spot was ours! Simmer down, you can't steal a place in the school. I plunk myself down beside Lily, the four of us creating a semicircle. I think she's right. You too? The butterflies are accomplice. As I glance around, sure enough, a small yellow butterfly floats across my field of vision. So, tell me, how did this butterfly help Lily steal this spot? It scattered out our conversation and told her. I should have known better than to expect sound reasoning from Rin. Regardless, I guess it wouldn't hurt to play along. You're telling me she can talk to butterflies? There are people who can talk to horses, called horse whisperers. Lily must be a butterfly whisperer. I bury my head in my hands as Emmy rounds on her strange companion. She doesn't seem to share Rin's sense of humor. Whispers don't work like that! Emmy and Rin continue their banter as they turn to Lily, who's busily finishing off her small box of curry and rice. So, what brought you up here anyway? A little fresh air every now and again doesn't hurt. Ah! Emmy breaks off from her vain attempts to introduce the concept of logic to Rin. That was why we came up here too! Something tells me it was her idea alone and that Rin only got dragged up here on Emmy's whim. Then again, the same could probably be said of Lily and Hanako. Now, we can share. The creaking of the doors of the roof can be heard as soon as she says the words. A moment of silence falls over us as everyone's attention focuses on the figure appearing from it. Hanako slowly walks over to us, her eyes pinned to the ground, silently ruining the attention she's attracting. She tenses just barely when her eyes meet Rin's. I can't help raising an eyebrow as she walks over to us and sits next to me, doing her utmost to avoid looking up even as she brings her cafeteria bread to her mouth. So, how do you and Emmy know each other anyways? Emmy's somewhat well known around the school for her athletic ability. She's the fastest member of the track and field club by some margin, even beating Miki Miura at the track meet last week. Miki Miura. Ah, that tan girl from the front of my class. Considering her high and toned body, being able to beat her is quite an accomplishment. Looking over to Emmy, it's very clear she's well aware of this fact as she beams proudly. So, Hisao, What was your score in English? No comment. Boo! She puffs her cheeks and pouts, but it doesn't take long for her to bounce back. Alright, if I tell you mine, you have to tell me yours. Deal? Fine, fine. Okay, on the count of 3, both say our results. She's not gonna say hers. She's not gonna say hers. Watch. 1, 2, 3. 32. I beam a mischievous grin. Oh my god, the roles reversed. Emmy said hers, but I didn't say mine. Ah! Evil, 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 evil. You said it, not me. Still, the fact that you managed an even lower score than me is kind of amazing. Ugh. She looks and sounds like a small terrier growling at an intruder. I can't say it's the most threatening sight I've seen. Either way, scoring higher than 32 isn't something to boast about, much less scoring below it, for any subject. Yes, Lily. Sorry, Lily. I could help you with your English if you'd like. It would be my pleasure to. No, that's fine, but I appreciate the thought, really. Lily looks slightly deflated, her hopes of imparting her knowledge dashed. Judging from the badly hidden laughter of the rest of us, neither she nor Emmy seem to have garnered too much pity. Oh my god, wait, that's not good. That is not good. As I sit happily laughing through, I feel my voice suddenly cut off as my chest clenches. I sit in silence for a few seconds, all my concentration forced on my heartbeat. It's only a small pain, but the ache feels like it's growing. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. I glance upward to try and keep at least some of my attention to my surroundings, to see Emmy suddenly freezing when she notices the expression of pain on my face out of the corner of her eye. Hey, Hisao. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I look back down and redouble my efforts to try and stay calm, clenching my fists to try and dull the pain. Oh, fuck. Oh, okay, what is happening? It takes a short time, but the pain, thankfully, begins to fade. When I look back up, there's only silence and pensive faces to be seen. I guess I better explain myself. Arrhythmia. I'm fine. It's just a heart flutter. Are you sure? Should we get to the nurse? Taking her cue, Hanako quickly picks herself up and begins to dash to the door. Hanako, stop! Lily, I'm fine. You look like a wet, wrinkled tomato. Huh? As I bring my hand to my forehead, I can feel the beads of sweat gathered on it and dab them off with my cuff. Thanks. I told you, I'm fine. I'm just kind of fragile, I guess. The entire atmosphere has changed from one of gaiety to downcast faces, the situation being too awkward for anyone to know exactly how to react. And of course, the whole thing is thanks to me. It just had to happen now, around others. Oh, Emmy. She looks up, a box of juice halfway to her mouth. I haven't told you my score yet, have I? Yeah, well, you're half foreign, so your score doesn't count anyway. Lifting an eyebrow, I inquisitively turn to Lily. What was your test result anyway? She gives a cheeky grin. 100%. Perfect score. No way. All I can do is hang my mouth open and wonder. Considering those tests are insane, even for some native speakers, I can only imagine she's gone and done something like committing to mind part of the dictionary. A gift for rote memorization, maybe. I don't know what that is. That's... See? Only someone part 4 can get a score that good. See... Lily and I grin at Emmy's expense, her reaction identical to mine when I first tripped on that little landmine. Lily's foreign ancestry does raise a point, though. Ah, that's right. You leave tomorrow for Scotland, don't you? That's correct. Emmy heard some rumors about it. It seems word's spreading quickly, considering I only told a friend in my class a couple of days ago. It must be so nice to go halfway around the world on a holiday. Hey, could you buy me something while you're there? Don't be shy now. Lily gives a light-hearted giggle, evidently fully expecting Emmy's bluntness. The rest of the lunch continues much the same as before, the jauntiness from before my heart flutter thankfully returning in full. Ah, that's nice. As everyone files off with the appropriate farewells, only Lily and I are left. Hey, Lily? She packs the last of her things into her bag and clips it shut before perking her head up slightly. Thanks for breaking the silence back there. I kinda wanted to stop it, but didn't really know how to. As much as I'd like to sound less morose about it, the letter from yesterday, screwing up a test so badly in class, and now my heart making things very hard indeed. She gives an indulgent smile and nods. I hope she hasn't picked up on it, but knowing her, it's unlikely that she hasn't. Emmy's strong, but only human. We do worry about you, Hisao. Hold on, why would I worry you? Her smiling face collapses, becoming uncomfortably serious. Hisao, we are not ignorant of your situation. Unlike... She suddenly cuts herself short, unsure of whether she should say what she intends to. I give a weak smile and rest my hand on her shoulder. Don't. It's enough that I worry about it. I don't want you all to shoulder my burden. But if you all worry about it, I have to worry about your worrying. If that makes sense. I'm fine, okay? For a moment, she looks to be lost in thought, carefully pondering how to react. Hisao, do you have any paper left in your food's packaging? I think so. I'll just check. I rummage around in my bag for the leftovers from lunch, eventually finding a paper square from my sandwich's package. My eyebrow raised and my expression rather quizzical, I gently place the square into Lily's hand. Without another word, she brings her fingers around it to feel out its edges. This should be large enough. With both of us seated on the roof, the minutes to the lesson ticking away, she proceeds to lay the item on the ground, begin her work in earnest. Wrapped in silence, I watch her fingers move about on the small square with amazing dexterity. A small fold here, a larger fold there. Her fingertips keep a slow but sure pace. Looking up, her expression is calm and placid. The fact her face is pointed well above the sheet in front of her makes the sight of her work all the more curious. Her shoulders slump a bit after finishing one final fold, her work apparently done. It's only when she holds the item up in her hands that I realize what it is. Oh hey, it's a little origami crane. That's sick. A small origami crane. Light brown thanks to the packaging used, the result looks quite delicate and precise. You can do origami? I taught myself how to do it when I was younger. It improved my dexterity a bit. Huh. A little buffled, I carefully take the small bird from her pale cupped hands as if it would break from the slightest breath. It seems to be folded quite well and holds its shape easily. We both grab our bags and head out the door, Lily extending her cane as she does so. I hold Lily's handiwork up to my face for further inspection while we walk down the hallway, her hand running along the silver handrails for orientation. If she taught herself origami to improve her dexterity, with the use of her hands meaning so much to her given her condition... so that's it. I smile as I realize the bird's meaning. Everyone here has to find their own ways of dealing with their conditions. You aren't alone here when you have problems. Thanks, Lily. I appreciate this. She gives a sweet smile and a nod, not using words where none need be used, in her typical manner. All I ask is that you take care of yourself, Hisao. Don't worry, I will. Promise? Promise. And with that, we part ways. To be honest, I don't know what annoys me more, the fact that I could die at any moment, or the fact that everyone knows that. I guess I'll just take each day as it comes. As the unexpected present in my hand reminds me, I'm not alone here. Even though I may be like this, I'm not alone. If they worry, if anyone worries, I'll smile. I'll smile enough for all their worries to go away. Damn, dude, like, this game is really fucking good. It's really good. Anyway, I'm just gonna take a sip of this. Iced tea is good. The moment the bell rings out, a collective sigh of relief comes from everyone. Much of the morning has been taken up by a droning lecture on stoichiometry, a topic entirely unbefitting of the insufferable heat permeating the classroom. Hey, look at that! I have a chemistry class who learned that a while ago. Cool. Knowing that attempting to teach anything more would be an exercise in futility, Muto gives up and begins clearing the teaching materials from his desk for the day. As meaningless banter starts filling the classroom, I notice Hanako getting up and coming to my desk. She's been a lot less withdrawn lately, something which gives me a small measure of satisfaction. Hello, Hisao? Hey, wanna go pick up Lily then? It's close to the time when she need to get going if she's gonna make the flight.
About that. She said she might be held up a bit by her classmates.
I suppose that makes sense. Her class usually gets off a little earlier than ours, so Lily would normally have just come to our classroom. Her class must be sending her off. Well, never mind. We can wait outside her classroom for once, right? She gives a small giggle before nodding, the two of us taking our things and leaving for 3-2's classroom. When we reach our destination, I stop in idle amusement at the scene inside. One of the shorter girls from the class has Lily wrapped in an enthusiastic hug, her head no higher than Lily's chin. Her other friends, of which there are several, are gathered around her as well. Lily simply smiles kindly and hugs her back. I guess Lily must be pretty popular. Compared to Shizune's harsh but fair dictatorship of 3-3, Lily seems more like a mother figure for 3-2, to say nothing of her height and looks. Kenji's pointedly cool demeanor as he packs up his things at his seat in the back corner of the classroom is expected. He's no doubt far from a fan of the fuss being made about Lily's leaving. Looking beside me and seeing Hanako following my gaze, I decide to finally enter the room. Afternoon, Lily. It's just me and Hanako. Hanako withers noticeably when exposed to the din being made around Lily. Try as she might, I doubt she'll ever completely get over her social anxiety.
Hello?
Lily manages to work out our position reasonably well, her classmate detaching herself without a second word. A look of slight exasperation is written on Lily's face, though I can't say I blame her.
Hello, Sao, Hanako. Do we have much time if the flight leaves?
I give a quick glance at my watch. Taking the trip to the airport into account, there's a good 10, maybe 15 minutes left while still allowing for contingencies. Yeah, we still have a few minutes to kill. I wouldn't worry about missing it yet. Ah, is this Hanako? Uh-oh, I think we've just inadvertently become entangled in Lily's social web. The girl is probably part of the legally blind faction of the class like Kenji, given her almost window pane-like spectacles. Her short, roughly cut hair gives her a look that fits her excitable expression.
Hello?
She takes Hanako's hand and pulls it up and down enthusiastically. I really don't get how girls can be so social to someone they only know as the friend of a friend. While Hanako exchanges nervous greetings, I look around the room for my short and overdressed next-door neighbor. Try as I might, he seems to have slipped out of the classroom without anyone noticing. For a moment, I try to think of a possible career paths that could reasonably benefit from a single skill, before putting my mind to more pertinent matters. Lily seems pleased, if somewhat guarded, about the enthusiasm Hanako's suddenly excited from those around her. She might not see it, but Hanako's much less panicked about the affair than I anticipated. Shuffling my way through the gaggle of classmates, I eventually managed to reach her. Don't worry, Hanako's fine.
Thank you. I thought you might be overwhelmed by them.
Don't worry, we'll be gentle. Both of us grimace in unison. Hanako's nervous grin stays plastered on her face as another couple of girls moves in to meet her. It's kind of amazing that even just a month ago, she never had been able to cope with a situation such as this. Even when I first met her, the two of us completely alone, she sprinted from the library. So, got everything you need?
It's all packed. I just have to go by my room to pick it up on the way, and Hanako and I need to change.
I guess you better get going then. Hanako? Hanako's head flicks up towards us in a flash, her face rather unmistakably appreciating the chance to extricate herself from the small group gathered around her.
Coming.
The long taxi ride to the airport is surprisingly pleasant, despite the three of us being rather squashed together to fit in the small back seat. On the other hand, maybe despite isn't the right word. Also, hey, look at that, new background. Lily pays the fare to the driver as we file out, Hanako's eyes flittering left and right. Thankfully, there aren't too many people around, most of them being inside the main building rather than milling around outside. Oh hey, look, it's the two people we know. It isn't hard to spot Akira and Hideaki leaning against the fence while talking and pass the time. A large black travel bag, complete with wheels and travel handle, leans against the fence alongside them. Hideaki is the first to notice us, pointing us out to Akira, who gives an over-enthusiastic wave. Hey! Hey! I grab Lily's travel bag for her as we go to meet the two, earning a nod of appreciation. I've got all my stuff here. You got yours? Plane ticket as well?
Don't worry, I have everything. You?
Yep, all ready to go. Now without some problems along the way, I might add. The Snyder Mark has his head roughly dragged around by a very firmly clamped on hand. Yeah, I kinda sort of forgot it was in my trousers pocket. Trousers that I put in the wash.
Oh no.
Don't worry, don't worry. Did you know you can print out tickets if you order online nowadays? It's really cool. Hideaki's pain expression says that this wasn't a solution found quickly. It could have been worse, I guess.
We'd better start off then. Check-in should be ready by now.
Yeah, you're right. There's a certain amount of wistfulness in both their voices, to say nothing of the people left behind. Meeting their family again after all these years would be big for them. Oh, oh, look at that new Hanako sprite. She has a really cool hat.
Lily.
Hanako wraps Lily in a gentle hug to say goodbye, one which is warmly reciprocated. Lily and I share a brief hug afterward, each of us saying our goodbyes. Besides us, Akira and Hideaki break off from a small hug and a word or two between them. That probably look quite nice if not for the almost comical height difference between the two. Lily takes a hold of her sister's arm once all that needs to be said in farewells is said, the two walking past the huge glass doors.
Goodbye, Hisao. Hanako.
See ya! Don't do anything stupid, shorty! We wave at them until they disappear from sight in the throng of people moving about inside. And then we're alone. Well, that's that. I turn to see Hideaki already beginning to walk off. See ya! He throws a hand into the air, in a manner I'd expect of Akira. In the end, it's just Hanako and me left standing outside. I rest my hand on her shoulder. She absent-mindedly gazes toward the front doors of the building, as if she might catch a glimpse of either of the two before they disappear. Don't worry, the time will pass fast. She hesitates for a moment, but eventually nods. With the scorching heat of the summer sun beaming down on us, we make our way to the nearby bus stop. It's strange, really. Just when I'd begun to see Lily differently, she leaves on what almost feels like a pilgrimage to the past. That's the name of this act. In a way, though, that's just what I've been doing since coming to Yamaku. As much as I may reflect on everything that's happened to me, I really am hardly unique. Everyone has their own circumstances and separate paths to get where they are now. Yet I still can't really work out how I should proceed. My life may have practically been reset, and I still can't find anything that satisfactorily fills the hole I still feel in myself. Maybe Lily's leaving will be a good thing for me. Without her to lean on, I'll need to do more for myself. I'll have to be there for Hanako as well. It feels strange to have so much changing so quickly after my months in that hospital that seemed to exist so separately from reality, but that's all the more reason for me to keep focused. I can't let any opportunity slip out of my fingers in my attempt to rebuild my life. Act 3. The Present. Alright. Well, that's Act 2. Alright, look at that. We finished Act 2. Neat. And, for now, I guess Lily is going to be gone for a week. I don't know if we're going to have a time skip or if we're going to have to live through that, but, you know, let's do it. I rest my chin on my hand as I absent-mindedly look out of the window. Yet another of Muto's lectures droning on and on as if it were endless. The summer sky is almost alluring in its bright cerulean splendor. Only the odd passing cloud breaks up the deep blue expanse. This feeling of longing is probably the outdoors side of me yearning to escape. Nakai, could you answer this? That side of me is lost to the past now, though. In that case, I think it would use the ain suffix? Correct. Moving on. The suffix for... As my attention towards Muto slips once again, I spot Misha giving me an enthusiastic thumbs up, and nod at her to settle her down. Also, I think my mic shook really violently there. It's been a handful of days since Lily left for Scotland. Days which have passed relatively peacefully. Life largely continued as usual, in contrast to what I'd expected. While thoughts of her have danced around the edge of my mind since she left, present events managed to subdue them, at least for the time being. So I find myself idly chatting with Hanako, as usual, when lunchtime finally rolls by.
Are the later ones in the series good as well?
Not really. He'd probably be best off just sticking to the original. His later books didn't live up to it, other than maybe God Emperor.
Thanks, I wasn't really sure if...
As Hanako steps to the side, I see Shizune stride up in her typically business-like manner, flanked by her ever-present bright-haired shadow. Try as I might, I can't read any hint of their intent from their faces. Shizune's poker face and Misha's seemingly boundless cheerfulness are a devilish combination. I announced it like I was a WWE announcer. Morning, Shizune. Misha?
Hi.
I accentuate the greeting with a nod to Shizune in order to get the point across. She promptly and curtly returns the gesture to both of us. It's been a long while since I've really talked to either of them. For a while, I thought they might be avoiding me, but I eventually came to the conclusion that Shizune really isn't the type to do so. ...
Morning! Shishan says that Muta wants to see you sometime.
Because of the statement, my face contorts as if I'd just eaten spoiled food, giving Misha no end of amusement.
What? Anyone think you were in trouble, Hichan? ... You may not be aware of it, but you have the least to worry about out of anyone in the class.
What an unexpected vote of confidence. Even Hanako nods hesitantly to affirm the point. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. There was something I wanted to ask you, though. ...
And what that might be... He might be Hichan?
I have a feeling this won't go over well, but here goes. Is there any reason why you and Lily don't get along? It seems like even a little civility would help you both in your duties. Shizune's cold stare after Misha happily signs the word stops me in my tracks. In hindsight, I really could have worded that better. Out of the corner of my eye, I'm sure I see Hanako move back just a little. Thankfully, Shizune notices this and lets her temper dissipate as she forcefully runs her hand through her hair to let off steam. Perfectly on cue, Misha begins interpreting the second Shizune's arms begin to move. ...
I would say that such matters aren't relevant to you, but since you have seemed to have befriended Lily...
All the stumbling the words I do is canon. She pauses to adjust her glasses, evidently attempting to articulate her point in the best possible manner. ...
While they assume the same of her, I cannot call my own views on that matter unbiased. Suffice to say, we were closer than before than we are now. I messed that up. Oh my god. I'm Misha. I messed up my lines a lot. I stutter a lot. I really stumble my words a lot. I'm Misha.
Shizune makes a quick gesture to Misha to stop her from interpreting, then has a quick meeting with her before proceeding. The fact that the two can communicate so easily yet so secretly right in front of us is slightly disconcerting. Hanako seems to share my curiosity at the proceedings, looking on with thinly masked interest. As they finish their opaque conversation, Misha looks slightly deflated. I guess her opinion on the matter wasn't followed.
Shishan says you should ask Lily about it, as she doesn't want to be the one that gets you involved.
Well, I'll just have to ask her after she gets back. At least I got some information out of Shizune. The two having been on close terms mean that they weren't always at each other's throats, or at least not quite to this extent. I understand. Thanks anyway. With a nod and a farewell, the two break away and walk out the door, no doubt headed straight for the student council room, maybe to play more Risk. Could have gone worse, I suppose. Hanako lets out a long breath, relieved at the confrontation's resolution. I can't say I blame her.
I'll see you later then?
Yeah, I'll meet you in the tea room. See ya. With that, she waves and joins a trickle of students leaving the classroom. Nakai, could I speak with you for a moment? Delivered in his typical monotone manner. All the stumbling I do is canon. You know, people in real life, they don't say everything perfectly, you know? You see me? I'm stumbling my words because real people stumble on their words. I'm just trying to realistically portray the characters, okay? I'm just trying to, give a bit more realism to the game, you know? Yeah. Oh wait, I didn't read the second part. He apparently decided that I need a reminder to see him again already. Eventually, I finish packing up my things. By the time I reach his desk, the classroom is close to empty. Yes, sir? He looks up, taking measure of my face before giving an awkward, rather obviously acted chuckle. No need to feel guilty. You're not in any trouble. I just want to ask you something I've asked a few of the other students so far. That's something, at least. For a moment, I thought my maximum of keeping my head down and pen up had failed me. So, what did you want to talk about? To start with, what do you think of your progress in this class so far? Good? Bad? I detest that kind of question. For a fair amount of time, I try to think of a response that is neither pathetically humble nor cocky. I'd say I'm doing okay. The work doesn't seem too hard, and I'm doing better on the test than I thought I would. That's a good answer. A correct one, too. I give a mental sigh of relief at his satisfaction. To say that I don't gain a little pride from his comment would be a blatant lie. In the maelstrom of thoughts clouding my mind after learning that I'd be transferring to Yamaku, My school grades seemed utterly unimportant. Being entirely clueless as to what skill level would be assumed of me, once I actually got here, I was hugely relieved when I found out that I understood well enough the schoolwork we'd be doing. I know your circumstances might have thrown a wrench in the works, but have you given any thought to your future? My future? What you'd like to do as a profession. Do you have any thoughts of where you'd like to be in 10 or 20 years' time? I wouldn't be surprised if you covered this ground in your previous school, but I don't have any record of it if you have. I suppose the last year of high school is the time when students would need to be thinking about such things. To be honest, I really haven't lent it much thought compared to my immediate situation. Last year? I always heard that it was like junior year where they start pushing that stuff in your face. Like, oh, you gonna go to college? You have to go to college, bro. You need to go to college, bro. Give me your money. Catching on to my thinking, Mato speaks up. It's okay if you haven't decided on anything specific yet. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of your classmates are still undecided after all. Maybe pursue one of your talents. He's rather obviously trying to squeeze an answer out of me, and something about his previous wording makes me suspicious. He didn't seem to be intent on asking everybody like this, so he must have had some kind of selection criteria. And I guess our grades in his class. Well, something in science might be the path of least resistance. His face brightens, no doubt pleased at the thought of a prized student following his subject as a career path. Good. Having a general idea is the first step. I would advise you to think on it, though. I will. Things are kind of settling down, which will help. Good to hear. Oh, and I've noticed that Ikuzawa's attendance and grades have improved since he came to be friends. I'd like to thank you for that. I'm surprised you noticed we knew each other. He gives a chuckle as awkward as his smile. This guy really has no idea how to properly act around others. Every facial movement seems like an act of careful but misdirected choreography. You could say that having a general idea of who knows whom is part of a teacher's job. Catching himself before he goes off on a tangent, he loudly coughs into his hand. I'm sure you have things to do, though, so I'll stop there. But please do think about where you're headed from here, as you don't have long to go before you finish high school. I will, thanks. The brief talk ended. I take my leave. He goes back to fussing with the teaching materials on his desk. You know, I knew that Hisao was, like, in his last year of high school, but, like, is everybody in their last year? Like, every character? I'm not sure, but, I'd assume so. This is one of the times I'm envious of Lily, almost maddeningly so. To have one's future so clear and so assured, yet working towards it from such a young age. It's an idea so utterly irreconcilable with my own thoughts, mired in the present day just as they've always been. We've gone to like 3 of these now today, I think? No, just 2 of them and then like the act transition, I think. But still, this has been a short episode, so we're gonna keep going. Walking through the lobby to the cafeteria, I silently rue my daily routine having been completely thrown off. It seemed like a normal day. I arrived in class before most due to waking early and having become quite adept at chucking down my pills without choking as I got ready for the day. But as students trickled in, one never materialized. Hanako. I step inside, my eyes scanning the expanse of the cafeteria in search of a suitable place to take a seat. It's a task made more difficult by the groups of students moving about, busily talking. Yeah! A hand pounds my back hard a couple of times, severely winding. Emmy, can you stop doing that? Seriously? I think you're gonna kill me. I couldn't care less about the culprit as I focused my thoughts on my chest in a near automatic reaction. My hand instinctively tightens on my breast as I start going through the steps I rehearse in my mind every other day. Breathe steadily. In and out. With a measure of relief, I can slowly feel my chest becoming less tense. By the time I look back up, my face is covered in sweat from the experience. Oh, it wasn't Emmy, it was Kenji. You bastard, you almost killed me.
Hey, man, are you okay?
God damn it! Don't do that, you idiot! He retreats back, an expression of unease written on his face. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have barked at him, considering he had no way to know. I give a sigh and right myself with some difficulty. Sorry, I just have some chest problems. Sharp knocks aren't good. It seems strange to see him so upset. The fact that I can't do anything about it irritates me. Let's get lunch.
Okay, He's gonna have some company for once.
We start off to the serving line. One good thing is that Kenji and I can make small talk nowadays, as opposed to my only interaction with him being anti-feminist lectures. Seems like it'd be hard to find an empty table.
There's a few people I wouldn't mind sitting with. Nobody's like you, though.
I feel a shiver run through my spine. Clarify that now.
They don't listen. Their minds are closed. It's the media, man. The goddamn brainwashing mainstream feminist fascist media.
He takes a breath, and I savor the seconds of silence.
Damn, they control everything. Everything but you and me.
I relax a little while we grab our food and drink.
So, what have you got for me?
Huh?
Come on, you've been hanging around Sato and that other chick for ages now. Rumors are all over my class, and probably some of the others too.
Eavesdropping isn't a good habit.
Let me guess, you never do it? Not even when you're bored? Really?
Well, fine. Point taken. Both of us stop to have soup ladled into a couple of small bowls and placed into our trays. The concoction that lands into the bowl looks pretty questionable, but at least it smells reasonably good. As we take our seats at a miraculously free table, I try to think of something that would actually interest him at all. I hope I can come up with an acceptable topic. I found an answer to that question you asked a couple of weeks back, where Lily's non-Japanese half comes from, that is.
Good man! It's Russia, right? Totally Russia.
Scotland. He's visibly stopped in his tracks.
Scotland?
Yeah, that was my reaction too. She can speak English fluently and everything.
Damn it! Do you realize what this means? How terrifying this news is to me!
I think he's hyperventilating. Passing out for a little while would probably make him more relaxed than he normally is. Humor him or ignore his insane ramblings? You know, I've said it in the past that I hate Kenji. And, seems like Hisao does reasonably so. But, I think me and Hisao have the same opinion on him. Just that, we hate him, but, he's gonna stick around and he's very entertaining. So yeah, humor him. I have no idea what it means. Enlighten me.
I just lost 1,000 yen, man! 1,000 yen! Damn, this is the worst day ever!
You're kidding me. You made a bet about our nationality?
One of the dudes in my class was bugging me about it. I gave him some of my wisdom, and he had the audacity to say my logic was wrong.
So, what did he think?
Germany or something. It doesn't matter. What matters is my 1,000 yen! Damn, this day's ruined thanks to her. What a...
I'm not gonna say that. He looks utterly devastated as he wolfs down several clumps of his soggy, soy-soaked rice. It only takes a few mouthfuls before he pokes his chopsticks at me, stabbing in the air repeatedly in revelation.
Why? Would...
Didn't your mother ever tell you not to speak with your mouth full? He gives me a dirty look before choking down the rest of the food left in his mouth and taking a gulp of juice. It's rather unsightly. Remembering my own food sitting in front of me, I decide to get the task of eating the cafeteria food over and done with as fast as possible. The sooner I do so, the sooner the experience will be over.
So, as I was saying, why would anyone want to live in this place anyway? In that place anyway? Sorry, I stutter a lot. I mean, what is there to see? Grassy plains. That's it. Lots and lots of grassy plains. And men in kilts.
I'm not sure which is worse, this food or his worldview. I can feel my face being dragged down by the combined way. Not that he notice or care. It's not that bad. Why do you care about her so much anyway? She's just your class representative after all. He gives a malevolent chuckle. Were this anyone but Kenji, I'd feel uneasy at how he sounds.
I finally found a chink in the Feminist Legion's armor. It took a while, but I'm confident this is going to be how we can bring down the whole system. I'm about to blow your mind. Are you ready?
I tune out his rambling for a moment as I finish my rice and start in the unappetizing soup. One taste is enough to confirm that it's cold. Ready as I'll ever be.
I confirm that Lily is in the Mafia.
What?
Alright, stay with me for a second here, and I'll describe the scene.
I wish I could do otherwise.
Lily's there, walking down the streets after school.
You're not stalking her, are you?
No! Damn, man, I do have some sense of self-preservation.
But not dignity or morals or social standards.
Anyway, as I was saying, this car pulls up next to her, and guess who steps out? A man in a pinstripe suit. Waves her in, and the two leave just like that. I tell you, man, she's under protection. under protection.
A man in a... Oh, I can see where this is going now. It takes effort not to sigh in exasperation. Let me guess. This man was about average height, had a slightly slender build, had blonde hair, looked foreign, and smiled a lot. He looks positively stunned. I take advantage of the moment of quiet to quickly gulp a mouthful of cold soup.
It seems you're more observant than I thought. Yes, I have chosen well.
He giggles a little and nods to himself so dramatically that it looks comical. I can't tell whether that's intentional or not, and that fact makes me frown.
Yeah. This has important ramifications, you know. If she really is connected to people like them, and we're smart about what we do with this information, we could turn this into our greatest weapon against the student council.
Once he starts ramming into conspiracy territory, my juice suddenly becomes of much more importance. Only half listening to his pontifications, my mind drifts to the matter of Lily and her antipathy for Shizune. The past between them is steadily becoming more coherent, but I'm not sure if even I should be learning of her past this way. Indeed, even if I do work out what went on, it really doesn't seem like my business to go and interfere. Damn, not having Lily around is making my thoughts wander. I'm noticeably more bored and sullen without her company, and the same goes for Hanako. All we do during lunch anymore is eat and play chess. Come to think of it, I need to go check on Hanako after school too. Considering her much improved attendance, I'm guessing she's come down with something. Oh, Nakai? I stop as I'm about to leave the classroom, turning on the ball of my heel to meet Mato. He's holding out to me a couple of the worksheets we'd worked on during the day with his long, lanky arm. Would you mind giving these to Ikazawa? I normally ask one of the girls to do it, but I assume you'll be checking on her. For a moment, I briefly considered the possibility of that being more than an innocent prediction. I quickly discard the idea, though, as it's hard to think of him acting in such a Machiavellian way. It's not his nature. Sure, no problem. Walking up the hallway of the girls' dormitory, several ideas of why Hanako's been absent float around my head. The most obvious of them is just a simple cold. That said, she may not even be sick at all. It's been almost a week since Lily left, and despite her at least appearing to be normal, I suspect she's somewhat more insecure about it than she's letting on. Eventually, I come to Hanako's dormitory room, its simple brown door separating us. Her room's position next to Lily's is extremely convenient, and probably a large contributor to their meeting in the first place. Grimacing slightly at the prospect of her being sick, I rap my knuckles on the door. Silence. I listen intently for any sound of shuffling coming from inside, but I can't hear a thing. I knock on the door again, slightly harder. Still no answer. How strange. A door opens behind me. A freckled and somewhat scrawny underclassman I don't recognize comes out and is briefly taken off guard by my presence. Hi. I'll ask about Hanako. Seems like the sane thing to do. Actually, this may be a rather fortuitous meeting. Hey, excuse me. Do you know if Hanako's come out of her room today or not? She doesn't seem to be answering.
Ikazawa is Ikazawa. Her not answering the door is totally normal. That tall foreign girl's the only person she'll ever talk to after all.
She gives a shrug before walking off down the hallway, having much more important matters to attend to than Hanako or me. Her dismissive attitude annoys me. Hanako must have a reputation as a hermit, a reputation that doesn't seem outright undeserved, at least in the time before we'd met. Scratching my head, I make one last attempt at getting Hanako to answer as I knock on the door one final time. Hanako, it's just me. Mato said to give you some stuff. For a while, the attempt seems just as unsuccessful as the last. Just before I slip the sheets under her door, though, I can hear the handle rattling. As the door opens halfway, I do my best to look Hanako over as quickly as possible. It's a task made somewhat more difficult by her oversized gown, hiding so much of her body. She doesn't look sick, or at least not immediately so. To be honest, I'd have preferred that to her expression right now. Hi, Hanako. Muto wanted me to give these to you since you weren't in class today. I hold out the loose sheets, which she tentatively takes in her hands. The way she moves is weird, devoid of thought, as if she's some kind of mechanical automaton rather than a living being. Are you okay? If you're feeling sick or anything, I could get the nurse. It feels almost pitiful to put on such a routine get-well-soon act. I can't think of anything else I could possibly do for her, though. She seems to collect herself a little at the notion, but only a little. I'm fine. Okay. An awkward silence follows, eventually ended by her nodding solemnly in farewell and closing the door. The entire experience feels surreal. More than a little put off, I wander back to my room and hope that she'll be better by tomorrow, despite not knowing exactly what's wrong with her. Well, that's, very weird, yeah. I mean, my little recording thing says that I'm 50 minutes in, so we'll go for a little bit more until the next little transition thing. Once again, I find myself in front of Hanako's door after another unexplained absences from class. Nothing. Considering this is the second day in a row she's been like this, I'm starting to worry about her. Summoning my willpower, I decide to try one last way to get it to respond. Hanako, if you don't say anything, I'll go get the nurse for you. Go away. What? It's hard to tell whether her tone's one of depression, anger, or both. What in the world can I actually do to help her if she doesn't even want help? The message is clear enough. I can't just leave her like this, though, just sitting in her room for days on end. Rubbing my temples in thought, I withdraw to my own room to think about how to proceed. Rationality is what's needed here, as an overreaction may just make matters worse. I dig around drawer after drawer of my desk, looking for where I put that damned piece of paper. Before she left, Lily told me the number to call her on while in Scotland, and I wrote it down. Not that I need it, though. The damn thing is... Ah, here. I probably should have just entered it directly into my cell phone, come to think of it. Without further ado, I entered the numbers and anxiously pressed the call button. The fact that the phone rings at all shows that I got the prefix for a call to Scotland right, at least. I've never made an international call before, so that's some comfort. Eventually, the phone picks up, a feminine voice I don't recognize on the other end. It's probably Lily's mother. English. Suddenly finding myself unprepared, I realize I can't understand a word she says, either due to my limited vocabulary or her heavy accent. I should have anticipated this, since, according to Lily, her mother is a native Scot. I soldier on in the hope that she must know some Japanese, considering it's her daughter's native language. It's Hisao Nakai speaking. An enthusiastic sound of realization can be heard as she recognizes the language. My feeling of relief is immense. Okay, what voice do I give Lily's mom? Just like a pure-ass Scottish voice. Just like, you must be one of Lily's friends from school, correct? That's not even a Scottish voice. What the hell am I doing? Even so, her accent means I have to concentrate to work out what she's saying. Yes, that's right. Pleased to speak to you, Mrs. Sato. I don't know. If I'm trying to go for a Scotland thing here, it's like, Scotland forever! You know, Scotland forever! It's so nice of her to find someone so polite. Lily, dear, it's for you. Her mother seems nice, if a little over-enthusiastic given the mundane situation. Who knows? Maybe Lily said, oh, I have a boyfriend. you know? Let me go back a bit. It says, it's so nice of her to find someone so polite. You know? I'm thinking of this line right here. You know? Maybe she told her mom. Maybe? If she did, I'm extremely flattered. There's a small silence as Lily takes her time getting to the phone. In the distance, I can just make out her mother scolding her playfully for just getting up. Hello, Lily speaking. You sound awful. She makes a sound somewhere between a dying animal and a yawn. The only thing I do remember to check before calling was a time zone. It'd be pretty late in the morning over there, so she really has no excuse. Not feeling well? Just tired. What time is it there? Late afternoon. School finished the day not long ago. You're really not a morning person, are you? I don't need you making fun of me for it as well. It takes me a measure of restraint not to laugh at her pained groan. Poor girl. How are you doing over there, then? Bar the mornings. It's been enjoyable. After not meeting them for so long, just having a meal together with my parents is nice. Though the pool and the sheer size of the house might have something to do with that as well. Even if they're not in Japan, from the way it sounds, her family must be pretty wealthy to live so luxuriously. Are things all right with you and Hanako? Damn, I wasn't hoping that wouldn't be brought up quite so quickly. I take a moment to try and sort out exactly how to describe the situation without causing her undue worry. but she picks up on that without a word being said.
Hanako's not well, is she?
How did you know?
Because today is her birthday. I had hoped she might have gotten at least a little better after coming to know you, but how is she right now?
She missed school yesterday and seemed out of sorts when I checked up on her. Today she missed school again and just told me to go away. I've really got no idea what to make of it. Has this happened in the past? Is it related to her scarring in some way?
Unfortunately so. Roughly the same thing happened last year when her birthday came up. As far as I can tell, it's because her parents died in the accident that caused her scarring, and Hanako blames herself for their deaths.
Okay, I almost broke my Lily voice there for a little bit while I was reading that. Damn. What she says does seem to make sense. If she's blaming herself on her birthday, she may well be ruining that she was ever born. The fact that Lily seems so in the dark about it, though, almost to the extent that I am, is a surprise. So, that's why she lives in the student dormitories as well. Has she told you any more about the accident?
As close as we've come, she's very barely told me anything about what happened. What I know about it is largely conjecture.
She sounds depressed, almost defeated. Considering the trauma Hanako must have gone through, I really can't fault Lily for not knowing. Nevertheless, she still seems to consider it a personal failing. Don't blame yourself, Lily, with everything she's gone through.
I know. Thank you, Hisao. I'm sorry I can't be of more help to you.
It's fine. I'll just give it some more thought. Thanks, and have a good time in Scotland.
Hmm? It's nothing. Thank you for taking care of Hanako.
Okay. Bye.
Goodbye.
And with that, the line goes silent. Amid the seemingly only increased number of questions I can't answer, the most immediate is what Lily was going to say. Oh no. I'm an idiot. She must have thought I was calling to talk with her, but I only asked for help with Hanako. Even more shameful than that thought is the fact that such an appraisal would be largely correct. Well, first things first. For now, I need to at least sort out Hanako and make sure that she's actually eating okay. The occasional passing students give badly hidden glances at the plate of food I carried to the female dormitories. It's hardly a meal to be proud of, only being an instant microwave meal from the convenience store, but it should at least fill her up. Eventually, I arrive outside of our room, after having to ward off a couple of girls who jokingly tried to pilfer the food I'd taken so long to procure. Why? Like, why would he even do that? It's a joke. It's not... Why? I decide to forego knocking, since it was proven to be an utterly useless measure, and it's somewhat difficult to do with my hands full. Hanako, it's Hisao. I know you're listening. I got some food for you. Silence, as I expected. I'll leave it beside your door. Please eat it, at least. Okay? There, I've said my piece. Now it's up to her. Putting the plate down, I walk back to my own room to eat my dinner. By the time I return to Hanako's dormitory, a good hour's passed. Thankfully, there isn't anything to be seen beside her door. I walk back at least somewhat happier that she's eating. If she intends to get through this by herself, then being to help, even if it's just in such a small way, is at least something. Damn, I'd never, obviously there's a reason why she had the scars, but damn, that's kind of dark. But yeah, that'll be it for this episode of Katawa Shoujo. I hope you enjoyed, even though that was kind of a dark place to leave it on. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. This game is great, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. I'll see you next time. Peace.